quick explanation of what's going on here. I've taken the counter spring, the thing that counterbalances the weight of this with the spring, off, so that it's now free of any forces, gravitational, moving it up and down. I have a number of, well, basically lathes and other things, and if there is any problem with the ways, then when you tighten up the jibs so that it's a good slide in one part, then what I find is that it binds a little in another part. So for instance, on one lathe near the spindle head, I may adjust it so that it's just about right, but as I move more towards the tailstock, it's not so good. These jibs have been adjusted to give zero play, but to allow movement. What I am finding is that there is no change in the resistance to movement along the length. Right, okay, that's at least not significant. Possibly just a little bit tight there as it's coming up, bumping into something at the end. Okay, as far as something sliding up and down away, then that is relatively good for me. There's a notchiness of the rack and pinion, but it's going quite nicely. It's not scientific because I'm not putting a torque meter onto this to measure the torque along there for the friction, but with the tightness that I've got on those that jib strip, if there was any real problem anywhere, I'm sure I would feel an extra bit of tension at that point, and I'm fine. I don't want to wind it right off the end of the rack because I haven't got the weight to pull it back. And as far as I can tell, it's very difficult. It's just running on there. You can see where the oil on the ways is being moved. There's little steps in the oil. Let's move that down again. I'm back. Sorry it's so long, this. And that we've not got the light clearly at this other end. I'm going to stop this video. Okay, so you can see the smear of the lubricant at this end where it's gone. What about the other side? You can see the lubricant smeared. And as far as I can tell, you can see the grinding marks along there, not polished very finely, but and as I say, the polished surface is this one, which doesn't serve any purpose at all. That surface inside the dovetail is reasonably smooth. I wouldn't say it's quite as polished as that surface here. That's the slightly rougher surface. I've messed that up now. Let's just mess it up a bit. So what you can see is a messed up bit there. And well, okay, there we are. So moving better than I would have expected. And if I can hold the phone, I'm doing this on the phone. Oh, I'm going to change the light to a different mode. There we are, floodlight on the phone. And this is the X-axis slideway. You can see that that's bearing on there. You can see the jib strip in there. I couldn't wish for anything any smoother than this. Really beautiful and smooth. X-axis runs very nicely to the limits of its travel, so no binding along its length, which is really nice. And what I'm going to do is leave the mill like this for a while, until I get round to it, because what I want to do is lubricate the, clean up the ways properly, lubricate the screw threads and the nuts properly, and just check those things out. But I doubt I'll find a mill of this price which has smoother operation on that. And as I say, I have adjusted those jibs now to get rid of any play. There's no perceptible play in it at all. So there it is. Very pleased then that the action is really quite good. And those of you who are mechanical engineers and understand friction and lubrication will probably be able to explain to me the principle of having a less than polished surface to run up and down. So you've got little points of contact and lubricant in between those points. So there's a thing for people who are experts on bearings. Remember, this is not high speed, this is very, very low speed. And is there something there? Because that is something we could do with a proper engineer to explain, because I think you can see there the relative coarseness of the grind on that bit that it's bearing on, and the relative smoothness of the surface on here. I'll put the light down. Relative smoothness on here, but it's not a bearing surface. It bears in there and on there, in those two places, inside the dovetail. That's where it carries it. Okay, guys, think about that. I need your expert consideration, but it works.